republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please bow as we pray. Father, we come to you tonight. We come before your throne of grace boldly but humbly. And we thank you for the city of Bonner Springs. We thank you for the residents. I pray that you would continue just to watch over each and every one. Father, I thank you for the blessings that you've given this city, our progress that is being made. I thank you for leading us and guiding us. Father, we as a council, we are the servants of the people, and we take that seriously, and we ask that you give us wisdom and guidance as we make decisions that affect the city. We thank you in Christ's name. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's do it again.
Rolling right along, we have the opportunity for citizens' concerns about items not on tonight's agenda. Those of you that would like to stand and address the City Council about items not on tonight's agenda, you have that opportunity.
Guess who?
Please.
Who are you?
What's up, mate? Where do you live?
Yeah, that's what I say, everybody. What I'd like to ask the city council tonight, it's too late probably for this year, but there is a wonderful group of people on Saturday mornings that meet down here at Farmer's Market from 8 to 12. You have some fantastic vendors down there. Some of them I think probably do it for hobby. There's some of them like Mark Meineke that's selling produce and stuff, and like Chad that's over there. And nobody knows about it. It's Saturday. I go down there and sell nuts for the Lions Club, and it looked like a mortician's meeting down there Saturday. There was nobody there. No offense. But it was, you know, and that's what's hard about it, is there was a young lady came down there, Cindy Hughes, lives here in Bonner, come down, she got talking to me, she said, I didn't even know this was down here. And you got a young guy down there, Travis, that works his family off with his staff to try to take care of the vendors, and there's some nice people down there. And if you guys, I guess we've heard before that there can't be signs, but if you could talk to Travis and see if maybe next year they could do something like coming in from Bonner West, everywhere like that there, put them up on Friday morning. I'd even help take them down Saturday afternoon if I was around. But like I say, there's some awful nice people. And if they don't come to Bonner, they're going to go to Olathe and Exit-Hongi. There's a big one down on Marion Lane. So, and the other thing is, if you'd have a little sign out there by Kelly Murphy Park that would say, you know, ask people that can maybe go and walk up and down Oak Street there and shop. And like I say, but honestly, it's on Saturday down there for even nice days, it's a lot of times there's just nobody down there. They're just, you know, so like I say, that's what I was asking, is maybe if you could talk to Travis, he's got a wonderful staff, and maybe even talk to some of the vendors if they've been somewhere else before or something, and see if, you know, if they have any ideas. But it's a great opportunity down there. And so, like I say, you can meet people from Bonner and stuff like that there. And like I say, if you guys could do something to help them, I know they'd appreciate it.
Appreciate that. Thank you very much, Mr. Hilton. I know that we do support, the city does support it on the current media outlets that we have, and the changeable letter sign or the electronic sign that we have up at the, but there's always a nice impact when you have additional signage, and I was thinking maybe banners or something, but we'll have our tourism director talk with Travis and see if there isn't something specific that
Yeah,
we
like
have
I say, it's an opportunity down there for a lot of people to come and shop the little Bonner stores and stuff down there too, because like I say, it's a win-win situation for everybody.
Yep.
Thank
Very
you.
good. Thank you. Anyone else that would like to stand and address the city council about items not on tonight's agenda? Or perhaps introduce young men that are here visiting first time? All right, we'll keep on going. Which opens it up to the consent agenda. The consent agenda this evening includes the minutes from the August 12th City Council meeting, claims for city operations, Plans for Public Housing Authority, as well as a massage therapy business establishment and therapist license at the Renaissance Festival. Anything to be pulled by the citizens? City staff? Questions, concerns, comments, clarifications, I guess, questions or clarifications? Council, seeing none, I'd entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor,
Hold on.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion that we accept the consent agenda as written.
Second. Moved and seconded.
I was just going to say, why does one business from the Renaissance Festival have to?
The massage therapy license is approved annually, but it's the same people over and over, so
Yeah.
it's done administratively until the city council needs to address it.
Okay. Yeah, we're fine.
I believe that's as correct as I can get
Just
it.
more
It's been
regular.
moved and seconded. Vote please.
Shannon?
Yes.
Mackey?
Abstain.
Wood?
Okay.
Kip?
Yes.
Stevens?
Yes.
Thompson?
Yes.
Gurley?
Yes.
Reeves?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Very good. On to our regular meeting agenda, the first of which is a revised accounting and internal policy control. Staff?
The governing body has previously approved internal accounting controls. This is something that's done to ensure that we have separation of duties as far as how money is accounted for and then inputted. We did have some change in some positions which require this policy to be updated as far as positions are concerned. So that's really the general gist of the revision is changes in hierarchy as far as positions are concerned.
Personnel. Are those positions full now?
Yes.
Anything else from citizens concerning this item? Seeing none, I entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, make a motion to approve the revised accounting and internal control policy.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Comments or concerns, Mr. over here?
I was just kind of interested to maybe find out, you said there's more people in that position?
It's effectively just change in titles, more or less. This policy is very specific, so it has specific titles referenced previously, so that it's really just changing the titles that you see. One of which would be the deputy finance officer. That position was previously called something different, so we've changed that, and that's reflected in this policy now.
Okay. And I didn't understand the last statement there. It says cash receipts, clerk will not perform any duties related to reconciliation of the city's bank statement. I didn't know exactly what that meant. Who would?
That's just saying that the person that that counts the money can't be the person that then finalizes how much money is there.
Makes sense.
Protect thing. Yeah.
Mayor.
Incredible detail.
I was going to say similar to Wood, thank you for the detail and clarifying this, or making our budgets easier to read.
Nothing else? Vote please.
Kip?
Yes.
Thompson?
Yes.
Wood?
Yes.
Reeves?
Yes.
Stevens?
Yes.
Shannon?
Yes.
Mackey?
Yes.
Gurley?
Yes.
Motion passes.
On to item number 2, our charter ordinance for the transient guest tax.
Mayor, the governing body previously approved this, and I did not get it sent in to the ECHO in time to have it published for a long enough period of time. So we checked with the league and checked with the city attorney. We can use the same, we're still using the same charter ordinance number 37, we just have to adjust the dates and have to approve
And republish.
it. And republish it.
Very good. Any other questions from the citizens? Seeing none, I'd entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to adopt charter ordinance number 37, raising the transient guest tax rate to 6%.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Questions, concerns, comments? We'll start here with Councilman Shannon.
I had a question, if we Do we have any info on Airbnb additions to this? Or the use of Airbnb properties in Bonner yet?
There were no updates to the charter ordinance other than the effective date. So I don't know
Okay.
what more information is there.
I was just gonna ask, this happens all over, doesn't it? Things like this, yeah. Nothing?
So there, 6% still sounds pretty reasonable from what I've seen a lot of other places. What was it before we raised it? Was it five something? Still within, what,
Yeah, this-
That brings us up kind of to the middle of the field, I think.
Yeah.
They're both up around
on
the
average.
Very good. Nothing else? Thank you for bringing that to our attention. It's practically impossible to keep all the qualifiers and the dates and the timing, and everything seems to be different nowadays. So thank you very much for keeping on top of that. Seeing nothing else, vote please.
Thompson,
Yes.
Kip,
Yes.
Reeves,
yes.
Wood,
Yes.
Mackey,
Yes.
Shannon,
Yes.
Fairley,
Yes.
Stevens.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Very good. Thank you very much. We'll move on to our reports. And this evening's first report is the city manager's report.
Just to give everybody an update, I attended along with the mayor the Midwest Public Risk annual conference last week, or a portion of last week. A couple of things to note to bring to your guys' attention. Midwest Public Risk currently offers a multitude of insurance, health insurance, property liability insurance is covered through the city. The one thing that is not covered through NPR is actually covered through KMIT, which is Kansas Municipal Insurance Trust, is workers' compensation. So NPR is currently considering opening up into the Kansas market. Just to get you guys again up to speed on that, what that means is that they are looking or reviewing what our costs would be from a premium standpoint for the city to go on to NPR. Right now, under state statute in Kansas, it requires, I believe, $500,000 within the pool for workers' comp, and then a minimum number of cities. Right now, NPR believes that they have that. However, that hasn't been finalized by several governing bodies, or any governing bodies for that matter. Furthermore, it does require, under the bylaws of KMIT, that the city provide 60 days, I believe, notification to KMIT that we would be withdrawing. I just bring this up now because it's been made clear to us that they will hopefully have the cost to go on to that program the middle part of this month. That'll be about the same time, hopefully we'll get the cost from KMIT, just to give everybody an understanding. This is about $140,000 annually pays into the workers' comp pool, so it's a pretty significant amount of money that we have annually. And that has, unfortunately, historically gone up, most notably because of some facility issues that we've had in the past that have raised our premium costs. So again, I just want to get you guys up to speed and hopefully have a little bit more information regarding that. Also, and I'm not sure if the mayor is going to talk about this as well or go into any further detail, beyond the healthcare and all those fun topics, there was a conversation related to drones, specifically the use of drones by police departments. As I think everybody knows, that the police department does have currently one drone that does provide us with an aerial viewpoint, vantage point for a variety of different issues. They are currently looking at purchasing a second drone. This particular drone is actually on display at this conference. What it allows you to do is it's about this big, and you'll know it's by the sound it makes as far as how loud it is. But also provides the ability to mount 2 cameras onto this drone, one of which is a thermal camera that can be used for a variety of different applications, be it fighting fire or search and rescue, nighttime deployment as well. So again, I think a pretty interesting concept, and obviously something that is, that we've taken on in the past. Not very many agencies have deployed a drone like we have, but obviously there's a lot of interest in this type of technology, so we are ahead of some of our peers as far as this is concerned, and also looking at taking the next step with our unmanned aerial unit, I believe is what the police refer to it as. The last thing I wanted to touch on, as many of you know, within the budget for 2020, there was the purchase of a K9 to replace Scout. Scout is currently getting into, or close to his end of his useful life as far as the police dog is concerned, so we're taking steps to replace that animal. With that being said, there are, as you may recall, Chief Knapp went into some of the variables involved with canines, specifically training. So he would like to set up, and I just wanted to know from you all collectively how you would like to proceed on this with a review of a specific dog from a specific breeder that has been known to train canines. Again, this is a pretty significant niche as far as, I think there's really only a handful, 2 or 3 trainers out there. But this dog, I think, is actually from Lenexa. And the idea would be to just give you guys and the public an idea of what this type of investment looks like. Again, this is a pretty significant investment for the city, but there is a difference between kennels as far as training is concerned, most notably the application of having a canine and the ability for, like Scout, a patron or what have you, citizen to come up and interact with that dog. Not all trainers train their dogs to be like that. So with that being said, I was hoping to do this before a council meeting in a workshop type setting. One of the requirements would be that the dog would probably want to be on a grassy type surface, which we wouldn't be able to do it in the gymnasium. So if everybody's comfortable, we can schedule hopefully something this fall still for a council meeting. It would just have to be off-site. We'd advertise it as we normally would, thinking probably Lions Park or something, and then we could reconvene back here for the regular meeting if that works for everybody and find that valuable. Okay. I will talk with the chief and try to get something scheduled in the next couple of months with that in mind. Other than that, that concludes my report.
Very good. Thank you very much. We'll go ahead and start down here. City Council, nothing?
I'll reserve for the end, mine's a little longer.
Oh, we have that opportunity for City Council people to say something now, so this is your turn.
Okay. I was reviewing the UG's budget. It's basically a dumpster fire, essentially. They put up their budget as they're going to lose this year $21 million. In a budget of $395 million, they're not projecting, they certified it as losing $21 million. Next year, they're planning on losing $23 million, and then up into 2025, they're projecting to lose $25 million a year until the furthest they went out was 2025. One of the downsides to that is elections and like the election office. While I was doing the research and looking into some of the categories of their budget, which are extremely vague and almost laughable. One of them was like, it was one of their, I think the budget was probably $2 million, and it was literally called like NBR or something, and then you clicked it, it would drop down, and the subcategory was NDR as well. I mean, it was almost looked like somebody in middle school made the whole budget for us. But with that, there was a testimony last year from Bruce L. Newby, our election commissioner, and it was testimony on bill number 2509, which I won't read the entire bill because it is legislation. It's wordy even for me. But I'll touch some of the points on it because it was pretty drastic and almost disgusting how racist and how basically how they're just trying to shut down our elections so that we, even as citizens, whether you're Republican or Democrat, are not able to vote anymore. The UG budget has increased from 212 million to 395 million since 2005. In the same period, the election office budget has only increased from 887,000 to 1.1 million. The election budget was 0.5% of the total UG budget. By 2017, the election budget was just 1/3 of 1% of the total UG budget. There have been some unfortunate consequences to living with a smaller budget, and a few examples. I won't read all the examples, but I'll read the highlights of it. Budget cuts in 2008 took the funding necessary to do satellite advanced voting. After 2008, we obtained a no-cost satellite voting site, but that ceased to be available to us in 2015. Paying for any satellite voting now includes the cost of the location as well as the cost of the election workers, whereas it used to only include the cost of the location. Some of the other ones, the early voting period used to be 2 weeks, has been limited by funding down to 1 week now. To compensate, they've expanded voting opportunities by opening 1 to 3 satellite advanced voting locations on Saturdays only. In 2006, we operated and staffed 59 polling places. Due to budget reductions and ADA compliance issues, we now use only 30 polling places, so almost a reduction of half. That means as many as 6 precincts all vote in one single polling place. Polling places are increasingly difficult to find and to keep. A significant factor to keeping polling places is what we are able to pay for the use of facilities. In some wards, there are no available suitable locations whatsoever anymore. The fifth point on here, in 2005, the operating budget was 58% for direct election costs, and that's been reduced down to 40% of it. There's a note up here, or a kind of an issuance or a complaint about the Kansas City Star being the only paper, which we know at Bonner we've luckily got the Tidlow Talk, but everybody knows that it's difficult to find local papers right now, and that's one thing that's noted in here in a large paragraph. And there's some other issuances in this. If anybody's interested in this, I'll post it on Facebook so that you can see the actual documents and you don't have to go off of what I'm saying. I went through the budget line by line for Wyandotte County's budget and KCK specifically, or actually not specifically, because the whole thing is, they have it all lumped into one. They only have probably 3 things on the entire $395 million budget broken out into KCK operations, and I believe that's the attorney and 2 other instances. I wanted to bring up some of the really funny ones. Their knowledge department is $7.33 million. If you break it down, it is the same sort of thing. The knowledge department is not very knowledgeable of how to describe what they do with it. I had someone tell me today that works for UG. There's an internal joke that it's they call it the political department because they say that it actually is used for political party, I guess, research and whatever things. I obviously can't verify that, but it was told to me directly by a UG employee earlier today. The finance department, which I thought was kind of funny, is $5.9 million. About $2 million of that is administrative costs. The county admin, $1.8 million. This is the one that I found a little bit disgusting, that they're planning for as many problems as they deserve, because in 2017, their public relations, and this is a breakdown from the county admin, they have a public relations category. In 2017, that was $71,775. This year, they budgeted for $100,786 for the Public Relations Department. Their neighborhood center, which does nothing for Bonner Springs and nothing for Edwardsville, and doesn't give any funds out to the other 2 cities that are involved in the 3-city unified government, is $5.6 million. Their Parks and Rec, $9.3 million for their, whatever their Parks Department is. Parks, and this was another one I found rather disturbing, the Parks Admin Department, if you break it down in their categories, in 2014, the administration for the Parks Department was being paid $242,119. In 2019, that's ballooned all the way up to $1.9 million with no explanation. If anybody would like to look into any of this or want the links for it, you can just hop on the Google machine and type in WICO OpenGov budget. It's pretty point-and-click friendly, but it's very, very vague, and they on purpose made it really complicated. I bring this up because if we don't bring it up, it's obviously getting worse. It's compounding, and I don't know what the next step is for whenever a county goes bankrupt, but we balanced our budget, and I find it pretty disgusting that they don't even make an attempt to do so.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No.
Have you discussed this with the county commissioners? or-
I have not, and that's one thing I would like to do is, I'm not trying to badmouth everybody. Mayor Albee, he's only been in office 1 year since this, so I'm not by any means blaming this on him. It's been going on since 2007. If Mayor Albee, Tom Burrows, who is our representative in both the House 33rd District as well as our overall District 1 representative, or if District 7, I don't remember what his name is, if any of them would like to come and talk or do a workshop or even address me directly or email me, I'd be more than happy to chat. But as with Burrows, I already know he's not very interested in chatting. I've tried many times before, and he'll never email me back. He won't call, and he doesn't care to talk to me at all.
Our District 7 Commissioner is Jim Walters.
Jim Walters, thank you.
And you might put together some of those concerns
Yep.
in a letter from you and send it to the county commissioners and see if that doesn't give some information. Then also, you might also direct that to perhaps the county, the Unified Government Administration, and see if they can give you more information on the specifics of that.
Okay, appreciate it.
That's just off the top of my head. I know we had group meetings before that we brought up different items, but that's been some time ago. So I'm sure the next time we have a joint meeting, those would be good items to bring up.
Yep, all right, thanks, sir.
I got a call about a month ago from a gentleman that was unhappy about how our sidewalks on Shiloh ended at 436 Shiloh. And what I'd like to ask Sean, do you know by any chance where we are on ordinance violation process with that resident there on 436 Shiloh, the second one off of Morris? The sidewalk actually stops there, and there's a barricade, or there was. It's been torn down, and a walkway around into the grass that's about that tall.
I don't know off the top of my head where that property's at, as far as the code violations are concerned. I can check with Mr. Stites, our code enforcement officer, and see where that's at, and get back to you all. Typically, it's a 10-day type of notification as far as the sidewalk is concerned. So I'm not sure, so I don't want to say something and be wrong as far as where that's at.
We have good new sidewalks that come up within a house from there. And it's beyond acceptable. And have respect for our guests, as far as them will go.
Thank you. Anything else?
I want to welcome you gentlemen to our meeting, and I want to, have you ever watched somebody knitting? That's what the the whole area is like, there's levels of communication and levels of things going on to keep the streets working and everything like that. And I think that you need to understand that from this age that you are now on, because it's incredible. And it's incredible how these people make it work. So, and I welcome you here.
Sean, I saw that we have 3 vacancies on the planning commission. What happens if those are not filled, if no one steps forward for those? Are they appointed? Are they left vacant?
They can be left vacant. Ultimately, if they're not filled, I believe the ordinance reads that you can have up to 9, I believe is where it's at, with 2 of which I believe need to be coming from Loring. And we haven't, unfortunately, had that filled to that capacity for some time. So if they were not filled, then they would still go on. The quorum requirements would just go down.
Okay. So we still have a minimum required to conduct business?
Yeah. And it's my understanding that the individuals that are stepping down are doing so just because of sort of life events. They would like to do anything that they can do to make sure that that's a smooth transition as far as, I don't know if that means if nobody shows up, that they continue or not.
Okay, thank you. I had the opportunity to attend the Kansas City, Kansas Women's Chamber of Commerce sponsored event for women elected officials in Wyandotte County. And I don't know if you received that email, but you are now on that list.
Okay.
So future events, there were several people that got missed, so it was attended. They're out of the 44 elected women officials in Wyandotte County, 35 of them were there. So it was a really cool group, and Representative Sharice Davis was there, was there, and this was just a meet and greet with the intention of doing a couple times a year, kind of brainstorming and empowering activities. So it was pretty neat. One of the few times that I've officially singled out as female. That's all for me.
Real quickly about planning commission, I do know one individual who has shown interest and has filed an application to apply for planning commission. I do remember a couple of said that they would be willing to come back, I think, for a meeting or 2 or 3 until those positions are filled. I was just going to ask real quickly in regards to the K-9 dog. I'm assuming we are going to start staying with a German Shepherd breed if possible.
Yeah, so Scout is a Belgian Malinois.
Malinois.
Yeah, there you go. Difficult word. But yeah, the idea would just, again, that breed or that at least sort of type of breed, be it a German Shepherd or a Belgian, are pretty consistent as far as what is typically trained by the handlers out there.
Because I do remember several years ago going through the citizen program for the police, the police department. They, Tom and I, see at that time we didn't have our K-9 unit. They brought theirs, and I thought it was a Belgian that they brought down, but they said that those dogs usually are not very people-friendly versus the German Shepherds.
Right. And that's I think it's one of those old adages that, you know, at the end of the day, the outcome of a dog, regardless of the breed, is based on the breeder or the trainer. So again, that's, I think, the difference that we're going to see. There are certain agencies, KHP is one in particular, I know they go through a breeder out of Texas, and that through their training, those dogs are bred to be very aggressive. There's Minnesota, and then there's one in North Carolina. Both of those, again, try to train their dogs to be more civilian friendly, personable, again, just kind of like Scout is. So again, I wouldn't necessarily point to the breed as an indicator to the outcome as far as the friendliness of the dog. It's more of the breeder.
Gotcha. Because I know Scout has been beyond his normal duties. He's been a great interface between the police and the public.
Yeah, and I think that's what we're trying to maintain is that, again, Scout has been extremely valuable by way of his effectiveness as a police canine, but also by way of just his social media presence, as well as just his ability to go up to folks like this and be able to be touched. And that's not always the case with big fans.
Sir? Yes, a couple things. One is received a call from one of the teachers at Bonner Elementary, Gretchen Parasol, and she would like to have a mock council meeting sometime this month, and I've talked to the mayor about this already, and possibly after our next regular meeting, maybe the next Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday after that, if we could have something probably in the morning, something before 2 o'clock, because then they have to start to be back in time to get the school out from the buses and so forth. And she was wanting something like that, and the mayor seems to be agreeable to it. And so I just want to let you know, so maybe we can start looking at a time when people could be here in the mornings and work out something to that effect, so.
I think that's a great idea, and I pass that along to Christina, maybe as being the point person to help schedule that with the
I'm
teacher.
visiting with her already, but I'm just
Very good.
letting the rest of us know that's kind of in the works for that.
I was just going to say, I have quiz bowl in the mornings on Wednesday and Thursday. So Tuesday would be kind of
Maybe
sad.
we have a quiz bowl day at the mock county.
They get them mock each other, huh?
Yeah.
And then I'm going to go on a rant again. The pond at the cemetery is despicable. It needs some serious work. I've had some comments from others than just the committee, cemetery committee about that. It appears to me like maybe it's not drained. And one of the things was, I said, well, we're waiting for it to drain. Well, maybe we need to make it drain so we can clear that thing out of there, because it's the worst part of the cemetery now is that pond. It's overgrown with.
Could we get some grass carp for it?
Well, it's cattails, and there's a multi-stage, we've been through this with the county extension officer previously, and it's not a real deep pond, and that's some of the concern, I guess. And so there's also a drainage issue with the outlet, and so that's the last I heard about that. But yeah, if there can be a plan or some type of intervention done, I think it's too much to wait until winter time to burn. It's going to require some equipment and time.
But anyway, I think that as bad as it looks, we probably need to proceed with some kind of remedy up there. I'm just passing this along so that maybe something can be done, hopefully. And then the other thing I wanted to find out is if we could have some kind of report on our outfit that is reviewing properties. I think they were supposed to be starting on commercial properties first, and where they are, what they've accomplished, or a date at which they've accomplished something, so we can know what they're doing, because I'm having some questions about that, because I've told people this is what we're doing, and now they're saying, oh, what's going on, okay? And so, yep, I just need to have some more information that we can point to something that's actually has happened or something.
Just so you all know, so again, Mark Sykes continues to do code enforcement as we normally do. The intent was to bring in IBTS and try to focus on some of the more, I don't know if that's what I put it, not significant, but more time involved issues, which of course again means that they're more, the time involved is more. So it takes longer to work through some of those things. But I will get with Amber and see if she can put together some type of review as to where we are to date. I know there was a little hiccup in terms of getting them up and going because they became inundated with other tasks that they have as far as other cities that they work with. Again, I think they're in 35 different cities across the metro area. So I know just to get you guys up to speed on that, they're springboard right as we had what they were going to. But I will talk with Amber and see what we can do on that, and then visit with.
At this point, it seems to be just a matter of communication. We don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
And just, sit there, I don't know.
Sure, yeah, and at any point in time, you're free to call Amber or myself too and ask where those things are at. Or if anybody has a specific issue in mind or property in mind, just report those things.
Well, there's several issues involved, and I was kind of waiting to see what they were finding out. But didn't want to stick my nose where it didn't belong. I wasn't wanting to micromanage anybody, and so I'm just kind of throwing it out there, see if somebody will bite on it.
Very good. Anything else?
That's it.
I forgot something.
Yes, ma'am.
Is there any future plan for another Citizens Academy? Have you heard anything about one?
I know it's something that they wanted to do or to re-implement. It's just been a question of resource and time. But yeah, certainly is something that they want to bring back to the public.
And just to jump on that just a little bit, the community action, or the community team is also wanting to make be more visible, and have plans to go out and meet the business community as well as different activities. So I don't know if that's all related, but there's been some changes and they're all getting into their areas. Very good. Yeah, I have several things to touch on. I challenge all of us in our different wards to think of volunteers that we can lean on even more to volunteer with the city to be on committees and commissions. The Planning and Zoning Commission is one of the most exciting and informative committees in the city there is. If you have any interest in what's going on in the city of Bonner Springs, that is a place to get a lot of information. So if you have people that are reaching out to you and asking what's going on, what's going here, what does that want to be, why haven't they done this, those are the people that have that interest and would be great volunteers. So all they need to do is take an opportunity to fill out a questionnaire with Christina Brake, the city clerk, and we'll be able to help find the areas that they're most interested in and help participate in our local government. So I challenge all of you to do that in your own board. The NPR conference that just concluded this last week was a wealth of information, and it's this is a opportunity for all of the different jurisdictions that have insurance through this pool, Midwest Public Risk, to join together and get additional information concerning a lot of topics that are very important to local governments. Some of the ones that I went to had to do with internet security. And just to pass along, I won't pass along the nightmares that he gave me concerning internet security, but the takeaways were we all need to have better passwords, 15 characters long, with symbols and numbers in them. And we should use dual authentication. You can set that up on your own devices, and that will save 90-some% of the problems or the hacking or all the different problems that there are. So anywhere that you need to put in your password, don't use the same password. They can run the entire dictionary through a test against your password in 3 seconds. So it takes no time at all to get all of our hot dogs or whatever your password is. Oh, I guess that's
Used to be my
so the next generation, you young people may be very familiar with passwords and how valuable they are.
You can use the LastPass password generator. It's really good. It makes 15 long.
Yep, 15 long. That's what they were saying, and they need it that long. And if you can get dual layer where you put in your password and then they email or text you a code and you can put that in.
Yeah, two-factor authors.
Yeah, two-factor authentication makes a huge difference. And so also changing your password, putting your birthday in, doesn't work anymore. So you got to change it. Now everybody knows Jordan's birthday. I'm joking. That was one of the very important things. Also concerning the drones being used in local government, the drone technology is very interesting to me personally, but also it's very effective. And as far as logistics go, it can be a huge resource for a lot of different departments in local government, from inventory or assessment, inspection services, to public service, emergency, medical, fire, police. Our police department probably has one of the top programs for drone use in the Kansas and Missouri area. So it's very very elaborate in the policies and procedures done to put these things on the ground. It's not just one of us grabbing a drone from Walmart and throwing it up in the air. It's completely different. These law enforcement drones have forward-looking infrared cameras that can get heat signatures, and the technology is just astounding. Also, they are becoming more and more idiot-proof. That would be a great advantage if I was operating them. Where they aren't as likely to fly into walls. They automatically space themselves through the sonar on board and the different cameras and keep themselves away from everything else. One of the big concerns is insurance or the risk of the drone itself and hitting someone, so the technology is greatly improved over the first and second generations of drones. They spoke about the expense. Yes, the expense is, there is an expense associated with it, whether it's whatever you're using it for, but even in police. But the risk reduction is almost immeasurable. If you can put up a drone and watch an entire area and save the risk of one police officer in a line of fire, it's hard to justify that dollar savings that you have over the dollar expense of having a $10,000 drone up or a $1,000 drone up, both of which do phenomenal things. One of my concerns were the bang for your buck, or how much value there is in it. The drone flight time is getting bigger all the time, and information that they generate during that time is better than it's ever been before. So these can be flown remotely, of course, but also the information that they have, the video or pictures that they're taking, can be accessed by the entire command and control wherever they happen to be. So this is a developing technology, one that sometimes a police department or a town the size of ours, 8,000 people, may not have the ability to do, or have the interested parties that are capable of performing those types of operations. But we often have the responsibility for 3 to 4 times the population that we live here in Bonner Springs. And so this can multiply our numbers in the police department, or our force of the police department, several times over. So if you have any qualms or concerns about drone technology, I invite you to research and educate yourselves. There's a lot of information out there. The pilots are FAA certified to be able to fly over civilian pilots that don't have qualification can't fly over people or more than outside their line of sight, but with a certificate of COA, a certificate of approval, I think, and then the FAA Chapter 7 license, the pilots can actually fly these drones at night and outside of their line of vision. So it's becoming a more useful technology all the time. Compared to one police car, and it's not near as expensive as one police car, but the protection that you can have over an entire police force seems to me to be very significant. The K9 tool that the police department uses, from these gatherings, that's what I've learned the most about the K9 programs, is this is a law enforcement tool. It is nice that they can use it for community awareness and the warm fuzzy aspect of being able to pet the dog. However, the value of that is very valuable also, but the most important thing is the tool, the officer support as well as the drug intervention. Those two aspects alone, which are primarily the areas that canines are trained in, are areas that are very important to our local police department, and those are the concerns. Yes, they are great dogs and wonderful, usually always have a smile on their face and very user-friendly, have been always, but these are a law enforcement tool, and they are not to be disregarded as anything other than that. They are very valuable and have saved the lives of our own police officers. So I just want to remind everyone that it's very important. Those are all the items that I wanted to go over. I stand for questions. If anybody has any questions for me,
I do have one.
please.
Back to the drones.
Uh-huh.
Now, out of curiosity, I'm assuming there's some policies that the department has to follow,
Yes.
so there's no constitutional violations, and then anything that might be gathered is going to be admissible in a court.
Yes.
There are policies in place for that?
Yep. And as far as that would be privacy in the areas that there is a presumed level of privacy or not. That's one thing. Most of all of the FAA regulations have to do with flight outdoors, and so there's no requirement from any federal agency on flight indoors. The drones are small enough now that they can do a lot of work inside of large warehouses. Some companies are doing that to help with inventory control, but also if you have an intruder in a large warehouse that's 500,000 square feet, the number of police officers that it would take to go in and isolate someone or sweep the entire place can be greatly reduced with a drone.
Well, I'm just talking about from the standpoint, let's say a drone is being used to go onto private property, let's say peer into a home's windows.
Yeah, that would require a
Yeah.
warrant. That would require a warrant, and then having that signed off on if there's any presumed level of privacy.
But there are policies in place for the officers.
So that's part of section 107, license effectively. So these operate just like a jet overhead would operate. They are highly regulated. They operate in a certain airspace. One thing that I often hear regarding drones, and it was answered quite directly by the sergeant that I was going over some of their policies, is that what happens if I shoot this down? Drones flying in my backyard, I shoot down with a shotgun. Well, the detective's response was, it's just like shooting down a passenger jet. It is an aircraft, and it is regulated by the FAA. So it
And
is.
it's a public it's a
public.
city-owned public aircraft, so you'd be shooting down an aircraft.
So again, there is a lot of similarities all day long as far as what a drone does and then just a jet overhead or a plane. There are certain restrictions, again, that's all part of that 107 and that COA process to say you can operate in this type of area, you can operate at night, you can operate out of line of sight. So again, it is pretty tightly knit.
Well, and they also have contact with the FAA, and when there is a no-fly restriction put on for whatever reason, or if you have other aircraft in your flight zone or your area, you're notified. So that This is very different than me going up to Walmart and buying one of those
No, I understand.
great looking drones that I want really bad.
I'm just looking from the standpoint of, because I would hate to see them do something that provides them information that they can't use it come down the road because they violated the
And
Constitution. That's why
then
I think it's
also,
a policy.
NPR, one of the aspects of having NPR involved is they're looking at the risks of those platforms, also those unmanned aerial vehicle platforms, and the risks that they inherently have also. So those are, yeah, the policies and procedures were significant. Anything else? I also am very proud of the Scouts. I'd appreciate it if all of you, you're here for a merit badge. Would you mind all standing and letting us know your name and what troop you're with?
Caleb Chambers, Sparta Troop 149. Kylie Beats, Sparta Troop 149.
AJ Rushman, 149. Wyatt Dale, Troop 149. Baron Atkins, Troop 149.
I appreciate you gentlemen being here. I was also a Cub Scout, so you never know what'll happen to you in the future.
Might be a funeral.
Might be a funeral director. Other,
6 feet of it.
Mickey, yeah. It would be terrible if it looked like that, no. Other than that, we're adjourned.